Tonight, a done deal. The federal government reveals plans to fund the duplication of the Bullock Bridge. And police and the family of missing man Scott Redmond continue the desperate hunt for clues.
This is Southern Cross News with Fraser Goldsworthy.
Good evening. The federal government has announced it will commit $160 million to help fund the duplication of Port Augusta's Bullock Bridge. A second structure will be built alongside the existing one, allowing for 4 lanes of traffic from the east to the west.
Big, bulky and full of stock, but the days of the national freight travelling solely over this stretch of road are numbered. The federal government signing off on a $160 million duplication of the Bullock Bridge.
It's a really good outcome and I hope that people can actually embrace this announcement.
As part of a number of early federal budget announcements, the government says increased traffic in the area called for a new plan for the future.
Because of the sheer traffic loads and the safety issues in Port Augusta, this has become, I think, the most pressing issue for Port Augusta.
Also a huge issue, safe pedestrian access.
The loss of the Great Western Bridge as a safe walkway for pedestrians is really reaching a pressure point.
Port Augusta's mayor says that although the design of the project hasn't started, the most challenging part is over.
We've actually got the state and federal government to make that financial contribution of some $200 million between state and federal government to actually build something.
The project is set to provide hundreds of jobs, which the federal government hopes will be sourced locally.
We don't always get exactly what we want, but I'll certainly be pushing for the maximum use of those people that live and work within the regions.
It could be 12 to 18 months before we see the first signs of construction here, and it could be years on top of that before the project is finalised. But that lengthy amount of time spells huge economic benefits for the town.
This is a project that could take upwards of 5 years to build. It's a massive engineering project, and we right here in Port Augusta get to capitalise on that.
Garth Burley, Southern Cross News.
A full day of searching at secret rocks near Kimber has failed to uncover any sign of missing Port Adelaide man Scott Redmond. It comes as the man who was allegedly in the car with him before he went missing faced court this afternoon. John Hunt has the story.
Scott Redmond hasn't been seen in over a fortnight, with police and his family desperate for answers as to where he is. Over the weekend, police stepped up the search for the 19-year-old, returning to where the car he was in was dumped. Police and SES crews spent all day Saturday searching around secret rocks, around 40 km south of Kimber. Air support was provided by the police helicopter, as a ground search spread across both sides of the old Kimber Road. The search was made more difficult by the dense bushland surrounding secret rocks. Police say Redmond was involved in a pursuit with another man on the Air Highway on April 21, which was later called off by police. The car, a black SUV, was found in secret rocks, with the other man arrested 2 days later in Whyalla. Mr. Redmond has not been heard from since then.
He's a good person at heart and he's been in the wrong crowd. At the moment, everyone's just wanting to find him alive.
Meanwhile today, the other man in the chase appeared before Port Augusta Court. Damien Kennedy is facing 4 counts of trafficking a large commercial quantity of a controlled drug. He was refused bail by the judge, with a home detention report to be prepared for the next hearing on Friday. Police leading the investigation remain hopeful they'll find Mr. Redmond alive. He's described as 178 centimetres tall, of a slim build, with blonde hair, blue eyes and tattoos on his arms.
Police are reminding Broken Hill locals to be mindful of changed traffic conditions after a collision near some roadworks on the weekend. The accident occurred at around 9 o'clock on Saturday morning when the driver of a 4-wheel drive crashed into a man waiting at temporary traffic lights. Roadworks are being carried out at the intersection of Williams and Chloride Streets. The man, who was visiting from Adelaide, was taken to hospital with minor injuries. Port Lincoln could be the next recipient of a youth-focused mental health facility. Following the success of a Headspace centre established in Whyalla earlier this year, one local leader has his sights set further down the Gulf.
Extending a positive Headspace down to Port Lincoln.
We've had one in Port Augusta now for 4 years, I think, and we've just recently opened one in Whyalla. Now I think the next most pressing point is Port Lincoln. Now that will mean I've got to lobby the government along with some of my colleagues for an increased number of Headspace units.
Headspace centres play a huge part in providing specialist mental health services targeted at young people between the ages of 12 and 25.
This is a very vulnerable age where people's changes in life. Lots of times parents know how their kids are feeling and can really help them. Other times they can't.
It follows a successful launch of a Headspace facility in Whyalla.
What we find is that they become sort of a virtual drop-in centre for these people that are struggling, and they find that there is comfort in the fact that, oh gee, I'm not the only one that's dealing with these issues.
Mr Ramsey is now looking to the local community for its thoughts.
I'm putting this up to give it some public airing. Hopefully I'm going to get some feedback from the public and build a case to the Minister, Greg Hunt, to say, look, we are looking for further resources in this area.
Casey Trelaw, Southern Cross News.
Coming up next, Broken Hill locals react to one man's plan to boost the town's population. Details next. A campaign to increase Broken Hill's population over the next 7 years is gaining interest from locals. The campaign's creator says the response has been overwhelming, demonstrating the Silver City's potential.
It's a bold plan, increase Broken Hill's population to 25,000 by 2025. So bold, the man behind it didn't think he'd be met with a welcoming response. But 3 weeks since he announced his plan,
I've had countless people that have pulled me up in the street and even gone so far as to say they were quite happy to pay a $50 levy to see this promotion get off the ground.
He says it's great to see locals wanting Broken Hill to not just survive but continue to grow. A meeting held yesterday saw close to 60 community members show up.
Health, education, policing, travel, tourism, real estate, retail, even a few retired people there. So it was amazing to get all that knowledge and passion of other residents in Broken Hill in the same room.
New South Wales Deputy Premier John Barilaro also spoke at the gathering, saying there's plenty of funding on the table.
State governments are held accountable for how they spend it, so we need to come up with the vision. We need to demonstrate that as a community we support the project, and then they will come to the party.
The next step, making the 25 in 25 campaign its own entity.
We want to be seen as a body that can speak with local council, can speak with state politics, can speak with federal politics. We don't want to be politically based. We just want to be a think tank, a task force for the future ideas of how we grow this city.
Patrick Reinke, Southern Cross News.
John Pirie Secondary School is now home to the region's newest STEM centre. Business Port Pirie has welcomed the new facility with hopes it'll encourage students to advance their learning capabilities.
Improving education for future generations.
STEM is really very much about bringing learning together, science, technology, maths, engineering, other areas really, so that curriculum's integrated.
Every kid in Port Pirie from all different backgrounds an opportunity for their future.
Help with learning outcomes for children in Port Pirie, and that can only be a good thing.
Construction of John Pirie Secondary School's $2.5 million STEM centre is now complete.
The vast majority of the products and services that have been supplied have also come from local businesses.
It's hoped students will be learning in the new facility within 3 weeks.
The school culture we're building is just about a school that connects with community, supports each other and works together.
Their efforts have been seen by the community as being absolutely positive for our community. It's going to be fantastic.
Business Port Pirie has welcomed the new centre, saying it'll encourage children to take up the challenge to study science and maths.
It's a fantastic facility, great for the city of Port Pirie.
Rachel Nell, Southern Cross News.
A Whyalla butcher and the community gathered today to shave off a famous piece of hair and raise money for the Leukemia Foundation. It's a matter close to the hearts as one of their own battles the horrendous disease.
In a matter of minutes, the most famous moustache in town was gone. Mark Azzopardi went under the clippers this morning, losing his famous tash.
I had it since I was 19, and which is only 5 years now, or maybe a little bit longer.
It was all to help raise money for the Leukemia Foundation, a cause close to their hearts. 4-year-old Lucy Stainer is battling the disease and is set to head back to Adelaide for further treatment next week. Her dad Ricky works for Mark and says the treatments are gruelling.
Could be 3-4 months worth yet. It's pretty intense, and it will make her even sicker again.
Ricky, along with a few other colleagues, also said goodbye to their hair, while others coloured theirs.
Shaving your hair, shaving your beard, whatever, it's nothing compared to what they've got to go through.
They all stuck around for a barbecue cooked by the Apex Club, with the family praising the local community for their support.
You don't realise how small a community Whyalla really is until something like this, you're affected by something like this, and everyone bands together.
And by the smile on her face, Lucy had a ball today.
How good is it to be back in Whyalla? How do you enjoy being back here?
Young kids seem to be a bit more resilient than us older people, I think.
John Hunt, Southern Cross News.
Bunch of legends, good on them. Whyalla businesses are being invited to find out more about how they can secure council work. The Chamber of Commerce will host senior executives from council at the Alexander Hotel on Wednesday night. Business owners will have the chance to meet staff and learn about council procurement opportunities.
We will take on all the feedback and we'll do everything we can and in our power to simplify, cut the red tape.
Present to the local business community the council procedures and procurement and give them an understanding of how they can be involved.
To register, head to our Facebook page. In the news ahead, one woman's plan to introduce the Port Lincoln community to a unique underwater sport. The details next. The annual Port Augusta Ladies' Day saw a colourful turnout over the weekend, with hundreds donning pink outfits, all in the name of breast cancer awareness. The day featured 8 races for all to enjoy, with the money raised from the day donated back to local breast care nurses.
And this is just to raise awareness and support local people within the community with breast cancer.
The next race meet is the Flying Doctor Race Day later this month. Well, we all know rugby, but have you heard of underwater rugby? While an unusual sport for most, one local woman has dreams of making the national team to compete in Austria next year.
A World Cup dream in an unlikely sport.
So I played a couple years for the Adelaide team, and currently I'm trying out to be on the women's national team to play in the World Cup Austria 2019. It's a pretty big goal. There's probably 40 to 50 or so women the minimum that are trying out, and there's only 15 that can go. So I'm really training hard myself and trying to do the best I can, because I really would like to go and I'd really like to represent Australia in 2019 Austria.
Catherine Held recently moved to Port Lincoln and hopes to continue her training by starting the unique sport at the local pool.
Kat and I, we normally play back in Adelaide for the Adelaide White Pointers, and since she just recently moved to Port Lincoln, she wanted to start up her own team, so I thought I would come and help her out.
And so here in Lincoln, I'm primarily training by myself and trying to get a team going as well, so we can have a good family, supportive of each other, and help each other and help me also reach my goal.
And if you love the water, it could be the sport for you.
We've got gear that we can get for you to wear, mask, fin, snorkel, so really all you need is a positive attitude and a willingness to be in the pool. And it's great for all ages and all experience levels, so we really would encourage anyone to come on down and give it a try.
Casey Trelaw, Southern Cross News.
The Southern Slugs international football team is heading to Bali next month with some local players. It's all in a bid to increase physical and mental health for the over 35s, while also putting the game in the global arena.
It's a whole new level of Aussie rules football.
Over 35s football gives that avenue to continue playing the game that it's in our DNA.
To be active in that after you sort of retire from footy, gives you something to do, and you probably can still enjoy, the camaraderie in that of, being active with the others that are doing it.
The players say the game has endless health benefits, while travelling gives the chance to recharge your batteries.
Purely overseas travel gives that double benefit of continuing to play the game, but also getting the therapeutic benefits of seeing other parts of the world.
This year, the team is off to compete in the annual Bali Nines tournament, and it's looking for players of all ages to join, with some of the team's best coming from the Mid-North region.
From Mount Gambier up to sort of Broken Hill, in from Adelaide and Northern Territory that have all played the game.
Last year, the team was lucky enough to line up against a few ex-AFL players, playing before the Power Game in Shanghai.
Playing in front of the Power Game was a good experience, and it's good to sort of see how the Chinese people sort of take in the game that they've probably never really seen before.
Rachel Nell, Southern Cross News.
To local footy now, and the Broken Hill League is back to regular Saturday games after a split first round for Anzac Day. Patrick joins us now from Memorial Oval, where South proved too good for Central, Pat.
Yeah, Fraser, even though Central had the home ground advantage, there's a reason why South are the benchmark of footy in the Silver City. The Roos were far too good for the Pies, downing the home side by almost 100 points. South was slow to get started, with Central trying their best to snag a goal. The Magpies struggled to hit targets throughout the game. Turnovers were costly. A 2-goal lead at the first break was doubled in the second quarter as the Red and White opened the game up. Their midfield was in fine form. Todd Davidson, Mark Purcell and Jordan Johns were all seeing plenty of the Sharon. Central rallied and got 2 goals back through Shane Dalby and Jason Masclett, but could do little to stop South's control of the corridor. This play epitomised South's class, 6 precise kicks from half-back to full forward, resulting in a goal to Cody Shawn. Harry Campbell's goal line save was valiant and Jalen Wingfield continued to find form, but Central still trailed by 30 at the main break. The Roos put the Magpies to the sword in the second half and would go on to win by 82 points. In the other game, 5 goals to Jaden Kelly saw North smash West by 82 points as well. To the Spencer Golf League, where it was wins to South Augusta, Port and West Augusta. In Whyalla, Wiruna Bay beat Rupina, West beat South and North beat Central to stay undefeated with 4 straight wins. To the northern areas, and Crystal Brook thumped Southern Flinders by 92, Orroroo recorded a 10-goal win, and Boolaroo Melrose Wilmington also got a victory. A quick look at Port Lincoln's results show 3 commanding wins. Way back, far too strong for Boston, Tasman were 99-point victors over Mallee Park, and Marble Range had an easy day against Lincoln South. And finally, in the Great Flinders Football League, Tumby Bay got the job done over Cougars, Ramblers couldn't do enough in their match, and Air United won a nail-biter against Lock. So Fraser, plenty of footy action happening right now, and all seasons are shaping up to be absolute crackers. And I'll be back tomorrow night to wrap up all the other sports from around the regions.
Good on you, Patrick Reinke in Broken Hill there. We'll stay with us after the break. We'll have all the local weather details with Abby Donaldson. And Abby, after some beautiful autumn sunshine, we're in for some wet weather soon.
That's right, Fraser. Some rain is on the way, and I'll tell you when next. Welcome back. Well, we saw some lovely autumn conditions around the Gulf today. It was a mix of sunshine and cloud for most centres, with temps hovering around the low to mid-20s. Taking a look at the satellite, and cloud in the south in the wake of a cold front is bringing some scattered showers, but that's mainly in coastal areas, and it's generally clear elsewhere under high pressure. On the waters tomorrow, northerly shifting northwesterly winds up to 30 knots, seas quite high too at 2.5 metres with a south-southwesterly swell. Sunrise is just before 7 a.m. and sunset is at 5:33 tomorrow Arvo. Now looking at tomorrow's weather, the beautiful sunshine will hang around in Port Augusta, 23 the top, sunny skies in Whyalla, 21 the max there, cloudy for Port Lincoln, a mild 19 the top, and it's looking like gorgeous sunny conditions everywhere else as temps hover around the low 20s. But the wet weather creeps in from Wednesday. Some light showers are forecast for Port Lincoln and Cleve for the rest of the week, but we should still see some pockets of sunshine with temps around the high teens to low 20s, but it's looking lovely in Woodner, fine and sunny for most days, 19 the max for Thursday and Friday. Those sunny skies will continue in Whyalla, Port Augusta and Kadina tomorrow and Wednesday, but in Kadina we could see some light showers in the evening and there's a chance they'll continue for the rest of the week. Again, we'll see maximums in the high teens to low 20s. And last but not least, some beautiful sunshine about tomorrow, 22 the top in Port Pirie and Broken Hill. That patchy rain will creep in from Wednesday afternoon, a cool 17 the max for Clare, before temps drop to a chilly 14 degrees for Thursday, but it's going to fine up for Friday, 20 the max in Port Pirie. So Fraser, while most centres are in for a bit of rain and cooler temps from the middle of the week, we should still see plenty more of this beautiful autumn sunshine.
Thanks, Abby. That's great news. And just to let you know, we'll be bringing you the winners of the Broken Hill Ag Fair news reading competition tomorrow night. And that's the local news this Monday. Thanks for your company. Enjoy your evening. Good night.